Hey, what's up? It's Gabriella Martay here from Helps 2. You're watching the Creatives Conversation podcast. Let's go. So today I have one of my good friends, J. Rob. Is that what you go by, like officially?
You can call me that or Jeremy.
Jeremy Robinson.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll put his information on this video so you guys can follow him if you want to. It's not, you look scared. But what we're talking about today, so J. Rob, we met as musicians, right? Technically, we're both a part of the same ministry here in Kansas City as musicians, full-time in the House of Prayer out here. He's still doing it. I've gone on to kind of focus on Helps too. And we met that way. But when I got to know you, like as a friend, I realized that he is so creative and you have done quite a bit, like in the nutrition, health, like give us more. I don't want to butcher it because, I'm going to be talking about all these things and you might be like, that's not it. So what do you do creatively? Tell us.
So currently, I'm primarily focusing on school, but before and after I'm done with school, pursuing things in the integrative health realm. So things that revolve around herbal medicine, self-care products, body, hair, skin, all of those things. I'm really passionate about those things, using no chemicals. And so, I've just sold and have made and created things and revolving around that field and self-care. So,
Yeah, I remember you were at my house during the summer. I think, was it 2020?
Yeah.
That was last summer, yeah. And you were legitimately at my kitchen table, like editing a website so that you could sell things. And I was like, this dude is really creative. So let's start with, what you do. We know what you do now, but like, why? I remember you telling me a story, but like, what would you tell them? Like, why do you do what you do?
So I think the first thing that triggered my interest in the integrative health realm was some personal health issues that I was having when I moved to Kansas City. And I've had them most of my life, but it wasn't until I moved to Kansas City that I realized they were not normal, I guess. And so upon research, just discovering things and little, things that I can integrate into my life, mostly based around nutrition and cutting out some chemicals that really helped me. And so a couple of things I always struggled with were severely debilitating allergies. Allergy season would come and I'd just be in bed
for real?
I could not get out of, it was just horrible. And then having asthma is a thing that I've struggled with for most of my life. I was experiencing some hair loss as well. And I had, this is kind of TMI, but we're putting it all out there.
Do it.
My underarms always peeled from using deodorants.
Was it because of the deodorant or
It was because of the deodorant. The chemicals in the deodorant, they have aluminum, they have parabens and things like that in them. And so because of my skin, it was very sensitive. And so it would burn my skin. It was chemical burn, basically, is what it was.
Oh, wow.
So I was just doing a lot of research, and upon doing research, really discovered just little things that I could do to alleviate some of those things. And since then, my allergies are 90% better. I still have them. As far as asthma, I don't remember last time I used the asthma pump.
And you're a vocalist too. Like, how does that work with asthma? Does that make it
It's very difficult.
Harder?
And I think that's why I'm really passionate about nutrition, because when I'm on top of my nutrition, I think the main difference that I feel is inflammation. So I can tell when I'm singing when my body has a lot of inflammation. And so asthma and all of those things, respiratory issues really can affect me as a singer. And I love being active. And so I'm not as active as I want to be and not as motivated to be active as I wanted to be, partly because I know I'll have respiratory issues. I don't feel like having to deal with that.
Right.
And so
that's real.
But so that's about it.
So what is like the long-term vision for you? Like in 5-10 years, or like what perfect life? Let's talk about that.
Perfect life. I think for me, I would love to have a portfolio career that involved at least 2 to 3 of my passions.
Okay. Now explain portfolio. I don't think everyone's gonna know that. Like portfolio career. Explain that.
So in my field, I'm getting my master's in integrative health, nutrition, and herbal medicine. And a lot of people in my field who are nutritionists or things like that have more than one job that they do. And so it's a portfolio career where some of them teach while also working at a clinic, and while running their own private practice. And so creating something like that for myself is
Right.
the goal. And so for me, I would love to work in the healthcare field in an office with actual patients while also running my own business that revolved around herbal medicine, integrative health, self-care, all those things, while also possibly having like consultations, nutritional advice, and things like that. So
That's like really, I'm listening to you, and though you're my friend, and I've probably heard this a few times, I feel like it's really unique. You do not see this often where someone has like a pain point or like a struggle in their life and they're able to like build a whole revenue model behind it.
yeah.
What was that like? Was that natural for you, number one? And number two, like, when did that hit you and how?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think it really depends on the type of person you are. Because honestly, I'm not realizing that until I'm 30 now. And so I don't think it was until the past 2 to 3 years that I realized that I am someone that thinks outside of the box. And going back on my history, even as a child, realizing that the pain points and the hardships that I've experienced, I've always used them to make myself better and become a better person. And not a lot of people have that. You know, I think it's that pessimist, optimist, that glass half empty, half full
Is it
kind
like,
of concept.
are we wired? Like, what do you think? Are we wired that way? Is it who you hang around, books you read?
I think it's all of those things, but
Yeah.
I don't think that the lack of being able to overcome your pain points is relative to your personality. I think it depends on your motivation and your desire to push past those things. And again, people's histories are different, but I know, for speaking for myself, I've always been this eccentric type of person, and realizing that I always think outside of the box.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, it's like, okay, this situation might be horrible, but what can I do to thrive in the midst of this situation? And so yeah, it's just always been something that I've done, and it's just been an overflow of that, an overflow of, I've always been someone who wanted to live out of a place of passion, but do it with wisdom, and to do it in a way that's not going to be burnt out, get me
Right.
burnt out and things like
A lot of
that. And
creatives get burnt out.
yeah, because after college, you know, you had a lot of people like, go get the job, go do this.
Yeah,
And
I know.
that always made me crumble inside. I was like, no,
Just didn't feel
I
right
don't
about
want to
it.
be that type of person. I'm not passionate about that. And so again, I graduated college in 2013. It's 2020, 21?
21.
21
Yeah.
now. Wow. And but just realizing that the journey I went to was true to who I was.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it took me this long to get to where I am, because I did not have to go through the pain of going against the grain of my natural bents. And you know, it's like I had the opportunity to have all the space I needed to actually find what I'm passionate about, and I found the career
Yeah.
that I'm going to pursue, but I did it in my way, in my time, and I've been able to thrive.
Yeah, that's great that you say that, because first of all, let's talk about passion. I feel like you are perfectly like God sent today, because I kind of need you to preach about this a little bit. You seem very passionate, and I mean, I guess you would say probably that I'm passionate as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but when you're lacking passion, how do you stir your passion? Like, because today I was going to the gym, and I'll just be honest, y'all, I am lacking motivation at the gym. I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah.
I'm going, and I'll like be there for 10 minutes and then leave, like lately.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stir this passion again. And I'm like, should I sign up for like, and this is not necessarily creative, but it totally relates.
Right.
I'm like, should I sign up for a basketball league? Like, how do I stir my passion? So I'm glad I have one of my friends here to be able to say, how do you stir your passion? Because I
Yeah.
need it. I need to know.
I
I'm sure others
think
do too.
These are really good questions. I think so. Starting off, there is really a great importance on prioritizing your passions, which I'm going to say goals, let's say.
Okay.
And so there are some goals that you do for yourself,
Right.
and there are some goals you do for other people. And those goals, I would say, are ego goals. Like, I need to live, I need to thrive, I need to be excellent at my job. I need to work. I need to provide for my family. I need to provide for myself. Those are things that you do and need to be great at them for external reasons. But then you have those things that make your soul come alive.
Yeah.
And those are the things that you want to be able to actually be able to verbalize and to process through. You want to acknowledge the consequences of pursuing those things, the consequences of not pursuing those things, and actually being able to separate the two. Because I think that's where people, because everybody has them. I don't believe that there's no one passionate person in the world, but what I do believe that there are people who have not been able to have the freedom to acknowledge what they're passionate about and to have enough freedom to have the self-discovery of figuring out what they're passionate about, and to have the language to be able to delineate between the things that are motivating them to get out of bed that day. And so I am someone who tries, I have both of those goals in my life, but knowing me, I want to be more motivated out of the soul era. Like, I want my heart to be in it. I want to enjoy stewarding what I've chosen to prioritize and enjoy stewarding what I've chosen to commit to. And so that's why it's taken me so long to get to where I am now, because I knew that if I do need the career, if I need to survive, if I need to provide for my family, then I want to build my life in a way that I'm going to enjoy waking up every day and stewarding those things. And again, the job that I have now, it's a job. I want to be excellent at it because I need to do that because my boss has required it of me. But I also love my job, and it's something that I've fought for to find and to be able to express on a daily basis, you know. And so,
was the job always a part of the plan, or was it something where you're like, all right, like I need to sustain myself better? Which one?
I think it was a little bit of both. You know,
Okay.
I just didn't want to force it. I didn't want to do it the way everybody else told me that I had to.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of creatives, you know, I think we can get in this mindset that it's like all creative or bust, right? Like either I do what I want or you know, or not. And I think it goes both ways, right? Like we can really miss out on some financially sustaining opportunities, even when they feel a little bit random, to really help propel our craft like into a place where it's like thriving. Or we can miss out on doing our craft because we feel like I can't do it unless I'm all in.
All in, yeah.
And so when I saw you get a job, I was, you know, my eyes were open. I said, because I really look up to you, even though you might not feel that way, but I'm like, look at J-Rob over here. Like, if I can, you know, I'm over here sometimes I'll take on like another project or like go work for somebody in the marketing realm because I love it. And I feel really fortunate that I can do what I love.
Right.
But sometimes I remember I took on a teaching gig back in California like 6 years ago to just pay the bills when Help C was kind of getting to a place where it could like undergird me. And people were like, yo, like Martay, you teach? And I was like, I can. Like, I've never seen myself at like a college teaching, but it was this moment of like, we got to get Help C off the ground. I got to like make this work, you know? And so I was wondering, when you took your job, like, what was your perspective going into that?
Yeah, I think so. My current vocation that I just accepted March 1st, I am pursuing that because it is, again, it's a part of my passion. I love serving people. I love taking care of people. I want to build community around health and wellness, and I want to learn how to take care of people. And I want to be able to have answers when people are asking me questions. I want to be able to have language when people are wondering what's going on. And so taking the current job that I'm in within the healthcare field, working at a hospital, the goal there is purely to be in an environment that I'm able to hear the language, see the things, and be able to build vocabulary for what's going on, and just have these different inputs to inform my graduate school, to inform my nutrition passions that I wanted to pursue when I'm done with graduate school. And so being able to, you know, have someone coming to me and telling me that they're struggling with acid reflux, or they have, you know, diabetes, or they are struggling with, you know, high blood pressure, just all of these things. And to be able to be like, okay, nutrition wise, like, this is what you need to do, and this is how I can help. And so I think it's all intertwined for me. And so, and I think that's like going back to the whole goal oriented thing. It's really being able to prioritize and to have an unto reason for why you're doing those things and to keep those things in order. I'm getting the day job so that I can do this,
right?
Which is what
Keeping it at
you
the
were
forefront of your mind.
communicated,
Yep.
with your whole helps too thing. And it's like, it's okay. You don't have to quit your day job to pursue your passions.
Yeah, it's good.
Like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes a day can get you to where you need to be.
That's so good. Yeah, when I started playing the guitar as a musician, because I'm a musician, I remember thinking in my mind, I have to practice this like 2 hours a day if I want to get to where I want to be, which is like me accompanying myself on a stage, right? Or a platform. And somebody came up to me and they were like, 10 minutes. And I was like, 10 minutes a day? Like, that's whack. Like, I was like, you're lying. And no joke, I put it to the test. I was like, I'm going to see. I didn't tell them, but I was like, I'm going to see. And so I did that for a year and I flourished.
Yeah.
Like just keeping it in my hands, pursuing that passion while I had like a full-time job. It was crazy. So speak to creatives right now, J-Rob. If someone is like expectations, like when someone is thinking, I have to be all in or I can't do it, what would you say to them?
I would say that you're selling yourself short, honestly. Because I think that part of that is fear. I also think that it's just I think a lot of times people don't know where to start too.
Yeah.
It's easy for me to say no when I'm like, if I did say yes, I wouldn't have no idea where to begin or what to do. And again, too, I think that we live these lives, here on earth going years without actually doing what we want to do. And then we start to do it and everything else kind of, it's like going from one extreme to another,
right?
And that's what I'm hearing as well. When it's like, I got to do it all, and it's like, no, let's just calm down, cause I think we romanticize a lot of things in our culture.
Do. Yeah.
We look at the people who have made it and don't realize that they're actually the weird ones. There are less people like them and more people like us,
right,
who have regular day jobs and are trying to just do the thing. And so instead of, and again, being able to see that and be like, let that inspire me.
Yeah.
But to know that within my realm of influence, I can make a difference for myself, right, and be able to thrive creatively for myself without having to make it look like the people who I see who are making the millions.
Who I think are thriving.
Right.
And we don't know what their day-to-day lives look like,
Period.
That's a J-Rob quote. He's always like, period.
So.
No, that's real.
Yeah. And so like we really have to understand that, and again, it just keeps on going back to this goals and the soul and ego thing. It's like, okay, what are you doing it for? Because for me, if I'm doing it for myself, it doesn't matter if I'm all in or not. I'm gonna do something.
Yeah.
Because I want my heart to be alive.
Right.
I want to thrive.
Right.
But that all in or all out, going back to that fear, it's like, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it big. I got to make a statement. I need to leave a footprint. I got to impress everybody. I got what's happening?
Why?
Like, let's start small. Let's build small. Let's increase. And if it doesn't, if you fail, you fail. If you succeed, you succeed. If you make the money, you make the money. If you don't, you don't. But you still get to go back to your day job at the end of the day.
Right.
Like, there are a lot of things that I've done throughout the years that I've started and I have not kept on going, but I at least always got my money back. And
wait, like what?
Just like a little selling teas and selling my little herbal stuff.
I was like, what kind of subscription?
And so being able to do those things, and throughout the years, like, I'm not doing them anymore, but I think all of those things are helping inform what I want to do after I'm done with graduate school.
Right.
Like, I have a vision. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. This is my goals about getting there. And my career has put me in a perfect position to be able to invest so much time into those things when I'm done with school. Like, I only work 3 days a week.
That's nice.
And then I have 4 days out of the week to pursue these passion projects.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, that's crazy. But because I did it the way that I wanted to do it, I've actually set my life up in a way that's going to be able to not sustain me financially, but be able to sustain my passions as well over a long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I love how you kind of mentioned, you didn't say this exactly, but it's a long-term journey. I had Amber. Do you know Amber Huffman?
Yeah.
She's my brand manager here at Helps Too. And she painted a painting for me and I asked for it. And I didn't give her any direction. She's an illustrator painter. And I said, hey, I want you to make something that says this is a long-term journey. Because it finally hit me like late 20s. I was like, you know, particularly in music, I was like, I have this particular dream of how I see it all ending up. And it might vary, right? It always kind of does. But like, I know what I want to do and I know what it looks like to me. And I had to come to grips because like everyone in the music industry that seems like they've made it makes it really young, most typically, right? But there's this guy, I think his name is Charles Bradley. He made it, whatever that means. That's a whole, like, what does that mean? But he started living his dream as a musician at like the age of 70. Or, yeah, I think that's his name, Charles Bradley. So, long story short, I was like, all right, Gabriella Martay, what if you don't live your dream the way you see it till you're 45? I had to start getting real with myself. Are you going to stop because you're not the age you wanted to be when it happened, right? Because, you know, I see tour buses and I see like, I'd like to pack out a bit. I'm just being honest. This is going to get me in some trouble. Y'all are going to like, this is solidifying. You got to speak it into existence, right?
Go for it.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, packing out, I don't want stadiums per se. If those happen, like, bless God. But like a 200 person to 500 person venue. Like I could see that. And it's always been in my heart since I was like 8, right? And all right, I hit 30 and I was like, it hasn't happened.
When is it going to happen?
Right? Like, is it not going to happen? You start asking real questions. And then something hit me. Well, what if it happens, but just not in your timetable? Like, what if you're like 45?
Right.
And people, you know, you don't know who's going to follow you at 45 or who's going to want to hear your music. But I was like, this is a long-term journey. And I'm willing to just keep going and see what happens. And it could happen next year. Who knows, right? Like, Drake could hit me up and be like, yo, Martay, jump on the track. J-Rob, you rap too. He might call you.
Nah, he ain't calling me.
But no, I don't necessarily want to work with Drake, but you know what I mean? Just like somebody. J-Rob raps everybody. We have these moments that we won't talk about, but like where we'll play instrumentals at my house and we'll go in and he makes the most creative songs. I'm just saying. That's why I invited you. That was the reason. And
Okay.
I've invited J-Rob to do a sing-off with me as Martay the musician, and he's denied my request 3 times.
It's not going to happen, but she keeps asking.
Yeah, y'all should comment below if you're watching this on YouTube and let us know if you want to hear J-Rob sing. Anyways, okay, let's move forward. I want to talk about your expectations. Okay. Well, there's a few things that you said that I could really go in on, but I do want to talk on your expectations when you got into being a creative. What was probably like one expectation that was like, you look back and you're like, that was dumb?
I think one of the,
or like, that was totally not okay. Or like, not right. Not a good expectation.
I think just going back to what I said in regards to perceptions of people or my perception of my expression of my creativity was thinking that everybody was going to think I was amazing.
That was like your success in doing it, or okay.
Yeah. Thinking that overnight I was just gonna become this hot thing. Like I'm here. Like I don't have to prove myself. I don't gotta, you know. And I think again that's why it needs to be delineated between: is this a soul goal or is this an ego thing? Like you're trying to do it for the acceptance or appreciation. It was through that process that I realized actually most of the things that I want to do, I just want to do them for me. And as they overflow, the things that I'm doing actually affect people. It affects people I'm encountering because they're having these issues. I'm like, actually, I can speak into that because I've experienced some of that myself. So yeah, but I think that was my main thing, was thinking that everybody was going to accept me. And when it didn't happen, I was like, yeah, that hurt.
That's real. And I think those ego goals, because when I started doing music, I was not in the healthiest place as a human being, right? Like I was really trying to prove myself in different ways. I think those ego goals can go like transform into a soul goal, you know, as you work on yourself. And I think a lot of creatives need to hear that. Like, because I do see a lot of creatives that will approach us online and I'll just be watching, you know, they're not in it because they like doing it only. Like, I always think to myself, like, would you do this if nobody ever cared? Nobody ever watched, listened, paid attention. Like, would you do it? You would clearly do what you're doing, or no?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, before we end, I have a few questions that are fun. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Wait, I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't know who's right. Okay. What's the most useless talent you have?
The most useless talents I have.
In your perspective, because I guess it's perspective. Like, can you like whistle weird or? No?
I'm not weirdly talented in that way. Like, I'm a really basic individual.
Okay, next question. Let's move on quick. All right. If you were on an island, what 3 things would you take with you?
What 3 things?
And I'll say there's Wi-Fi if you want it on the island. It comes with it.
I would probably take a heavy-duty knife, a lighter, and my Bible.
Okay.
Because I could probably make everything else that I need. I'd figure it out.
Okay, like vegetation. You're thinking vegetation's there?
Yeah,
okay.
Right? It's an island.
Well, not all islands have vegetation. We'll make sure you have vegetation.
Thank you.
Okay, cool.
So,
When I answered that question, I got asked that when I was interviewing for like a house in college to get in, and I don't think they were ready for my answer, but I think I said I'll take some seeds, my computer, and my Bible. They were looking at me like, what you about to do?
If vegetation ain't there, I'm taking some seeds too.
Right. I'm trying to plant my food. I can't go starving.
But there's at least some fruit trees on the island, right?
I would hope so. Like mangoes, right?
Then I'm good.
You're good. Yeah. Mangoes all day, every day. All right. Okay. So last fun question. Well, this isn't really fun, but it's just like a normal question. What is maybe one piece of advice for creatives in 2021? Like if you're talking to a bunch of people like us, right, who are creative and have like some kind of craft that they do or passion they're pursuing, what's one thing you'd say you need to be doing?
I would say be authentic.
Okay,
I think so I think that 2021, I mean the 21st century as a whole, we have, millennials, Gen Z, and I think that our generation and the people coming after us are not putting up with crap anymore.
Right.
Like they want the real.
Yeah, we've seen so much fake.
Yeah, and so I think authenticity, not only as an individual, but authenticity in your crafts and authenticity in what you're presenting. Or again, you just got to be one of the weird people that are just so talented that nobody cares.
Right.
But outside of that,
Those are rare,
think
though.
authenticity is really important. When you're passionate about it, people can tell. When it's an experience that is deeply rooted in who you are, people can tell. And people want to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, that's real.
So.
I think people listen to my music because they like me as a person versus like my music, which is kind of hurtful some days when you think about it. But I think there's so many musicians that like people are like, what is something that I can engage with or somebody I can engage with versus like, oh, this is some great music, which people do like great music. Don't get me wrong. I love great music, but there's a lot of great music out here.
Yeah.
So.
But if you're not a musician, then I'm thinking about the painters, the artists and all those people who produce other types of things with their hands. And like, I think authenticity, like being real and vulnerable is.
And giving your perspective, not shying away from being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. Okay. So I think that's it, except for this next question. What's next for J-Rob?
What's next for me? I am finishing my master's in nutrition and herbal medicine. I'll be done in December. After that, I'm considering pursuing my LPN.
Okay.
And then I will start building my business.
That's exciting.
So, yeah.
Like you've gone through a journey, my friend.
have.
Yeah. And you're like coming, I don't want to say to the end, but like you're getting past some hurdles.
Yeah.
Like for real. How can people connect with you?
You can connect with me on Instagram. My handle is JRob1time, JROB, the number 1, TIME. And besides that, You can email me, jrobonetime@gmail.com, but I don't have Facebook or any of those things.
He's being a purist.
So, yeah, I'd say you can text me, but I don't know who.
You might get like 50 text messages. All right, you guys. Well, thank you, J-Rob, for being on. You guys, make sure you subscribe and just stay tuned. We got more creatives just like this guy and just from so many different realms of life coming at you. And we are just stoked. Thanks for listening to the Creatives Conversation, and we'll see you next time. Bye.